Good evening. Welcome to the City of Gaithersburg Board of Appeals meeting for Wednesday, August 13th, 2025. Got a couple things on the agenda tonight. First of all, we need the approval of the July 9th, 2025 minutes.
I make a motion to approve the July 9th minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I guess I abstained because I wasn't here for that. Next of all, we have a public hearing for a variance, BOA 10140-2025, for the request for a 7-foot variance of the 20-foot rear setback at 11710 Fernshire Road in the R90 zone. Ms. Carolyn Seiden will present the official record.
Good evening, everyone. This is a public hearing on variance case BOA 10140-2025. The applicant is requesting a 7-foot variance of the 20-foot rear setback for a house addition at 11710 Fernshire Road, Lot 11, Block 1 in Fernshire Woods. You can see the house highlighted in blue. There's a Pepco transmission line to the rear of the house, and it's at the end of the cul-de-sac. The hearing was published in accordance with the requirements of the city charter and code on the city's website, and the property was properly posted. At the present time, there are 11 exhibits in the record file. They are referenced in an exhibit list in the files. The individual exhibits may be reviewed during the course of the meeting or in the Planning and Code Administration office during regular business hours, at City Hall, or on the city's website. Any objections to the receipt of any exhibit should be noted prior to the closing of the record, otherwise they will be deemed received in evidence. The subject property is zoned R90, medium-density residential zone. Pursuant to Section 24-3.3 of the city zoning ordinance, the rear setback in the R90 zone is 20 feet. I'm going to turn the presentation over to Mr. Keith Vaughn, who is here from Spectrum Design and Build, who's working on this addition for the homeowners. And I will turn it over to him. There we go. Now they can see.
I'm going to interrupt.
First of all, got to get the oath for the witnesses.
Yeah. Do you want the names or you want us to sign something?
No, I just have to just say I do.
Oh, I see.
All right. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of the perjury that the testimony you are about to give in this matter shall be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Me too?
Yes.
Okay, I do as well.
Okay.
Just to alter besides the introduction, my name is Jody Klein. I'm an attorney with the law firm Miller & Canby at 200B Monroe Street in Rockville, representing the applicant in this case and Mr. Vaughn, truly the applicant in this case. And I'll probably come back at the end and kind of go through conformance with the criteria in the zoning ordinance, but thought you'd be more interested in hearing what it is they'd like to do so you understand it. Mr. Vaughn?
Okay. Good evening. Thanks. So I'm Keith Vaughn, Spectrum Design Build. I'm representing Sam and Elise Portnoff, who are away on a family vacation this today. So we're applying for a very limited variance in this particular instance here. So obviously we all have the address, so I'll just move to my next slide. So that just says who I am. I'm the owner, Spectrum Design Build, 25 years experience. These are the homeowners, Sam and Elise. The potential residents are Alan and Angie, who are sitting behind me. So they're the parents which will reside in the ensuite addition. It is also worth pointing out that the ensuite addition is not going to be an ADU. It's just going to have like a kitchenette with a fridge and a sink and things like that. It's not going to be cooking and all that stuff. So going through the project, we looked at a couple of options, but we've got the goal here is to build a 600 square foot, 650 square foot addition onto the property to accommodate bedroom, sitting, desk area, living area, bathroom, laundry, walk-in closet, et cetera, so that they can reside in this location. So They want it to be separated, but have also access to the first floor, the main kitchen, and obviously the first floor is the access to the house. So access to the first floor was also a key criteria. I haven't put that into the presentation, but it is here. It's been pointed out also that the home, when it was built, there was, I believe, a 30-foot setback, and it was granted to build within 19 feet of the current rear yard setback. So the proposed rectangular footprint of our addition is going to allow both location on the site and also just where it's located next to kind of a laundry, storage, garage area. It just creates the access right into the first floor of the property where the location is. We have an irregular lot, and so I guess it's also worth pointing out that the economics of trying to locate it on the other side, it would, well, two things. One, it would have also required a variance, and secondly, the economics of putting it to the rear are significantly less expensive because of the topography of the lot. It actually grades down about 7 to 8 feet, and to keep it level with the first floor, you'll see a slide in a second which will show you the actual buildable areas. So what we're requesting is at the southwest corner of the addition, we can go to approximately 13 feet, which is the 7-foot request. We've got 56 square feet of the 630 square foot addition that would be in this rear yard at the southwest corner. The only elevation that really is affected by the variance is the south elevation, and that's the elevation that faces the Pepco right away. So all of the other elevations are within the framework of buildability. So that's that particular slide right there. So you've got this location. You can see in red the outline of the house. You can see the 150-foot Pepco right away. Also into the cul-de-sac, so there's actually not an immediate neighbor to the cul-de-sac side, and there is one immediate neighbor. Sorry, I'm turned around, but it's either to the east or the west, right? Anyway, so I can't quite do it on that slide. So that's the location of the house, and I think this is already in the file as well. So really, we're talking about, if you can see my cursor, we're talking about building right in this area over here, okay? So from there, again, further definition, there's just the zoning. You guys already have it stipulated. It's R90. So that's just your zoning profile. Here's what we explored in the very beginning of the design process. The blue areas on this site plan represent the buildable area. Like we could build in these odd, so we've got this 4.5 sided lot. It's obviously irregular in shape, but we can build in these blue areas here and here. And another request or dislike from Annie and Angie was no angled walls, right? They just don't. It just doesn't lend itself to comfort. And we'll get to it in a second, but it actually doesn't even really change the south elevation, because you'd still see the cutback. Like if you were way over there, you'd still see the cutback. It would just be cut back. From there, we ended up with this slide. So that's where we could have built, and we went through some iterations of angled walls and everything like that, 2 stories, et cetera. We just couldn't get there, both on design and costs, right? It's just, it became too cumbersome to have a smaller footprint with 2 floors is more expensive than what we're proposing here. So this is right here. This is the proposal, or the request. So we have this rear addition that will maintain, let's just go from the 5-foot right here. The rear addition will maintain the 5-foot setback on this side. The south elevation actually ends prior to the rear yard setback here. So that just goes across and over, and then this elevation again is from this side. So we're really at the end of the day, we're talking about this very small space right here, requiring, going to the 13.3 approximate, obviously we get out there a builder, it's safer to request the full 7 feet just to make sure. So that's the proposal of the addition. The layout of the addition, you can see it's pretty compact. I mean, we've got a queen size bed with 2 side tables, just enough room for a bathroom. There's a newer request to make the shower a little bigger, more accessible for them to continue to age, where we might lose the laundry. Again, I don't know how relevant that is to you, but you can see we're not excessively building ample, a bunch of spare space. So that's the details there. There's your front of house existing taken from the front of the house. This would be the new front elevation. So from the front of the court, you would see this side of the addition, of the ensuite. On this side, this is what you would see from, there isn't a neighbor that actually faces this direction. Again, though, if you cut back, that elevation is going to look essentially the same. It's just going to have a cutback. So from this actually also shows let me go back 1 second. This actually shows how deep the lot gets because of those walkout stairs on the basement, which is one of the major reasons why we decided not to build on that side. So getting to the variance request, this is essentially the elevation of the variance request. In many respects, just putting a nice gable, reverse gable back into the garage is the nicest solution. So there's the variance that was approved in 1984, essentially for the irregularness of the lot and so that they could build a rectangular house. So we're requesting the variance for Fernshire Road. We're having, we think, little to no impact on the adjoining properties. Elevation changes really only occurs at the rear of the home. That backs onto a Pepco right away. The modification just really, in terms of the neighbors looking around surrounding areas, it's just not something that's going to be demonstrably noticeable, again, in our opinion. So we'll allow the Portnoy, the request is to allow the Portnoy family to create the multi-generational household, enabling them to care for the aging parents and they can take care of their grandkids, et cetera. So that is our request. And I'm here to answer any questions or whatever else might be.
Do you have any questions, Mr. Vaughn? Because I was going to ask him a couple more, just to put it in the context of the standards by which a variance can be granted. Kind of ask you to address some of those. And let me start off by asking, could you pull up the footprint or the interior, the layout of the interior unit? Could you do justice? There you go. There you go. Could you do justice to what the owners want to accomplish if you shrunk the footprint to less than 600 square feet and didn't have to ask for a variance?
Not in a rectangular format. Like, the only way you could do that is if you cut the addition at the edge of this, at this southeast
And I think you were saying it's kind of snug as it is at 630?
It's pretty snug. I mean, I think they probably would have preferred 700. And I think anything under, my experience is that anything under 600 with one bedroom is, with bath and everything, it gets very difficult to cram it in there and feel comfortable.
Okay, so if I understood you were saying it's the shape of the lot, the topography, those are the features that are sort of built into this that make it difficult to be able to fit what you'd like to do within this lot. And this lot does differ from the other lots in the immediate area?
Clearly, this is a very irregular lot. So you're dealing with diagonals and rectangles and everything.
Right. And those conditions have been in place ever since the lot was platted, so it's not something that the property owners have done.
That's correct. This platted lot has been there since the house was built. Homeowners bought it this way.
And so the hardship would be that if you could not get, or if you get a waiver of the strict application of zoning ordinance, you would just not be able to deliver that, that unit at all? It just
Not in
wouldn't
my
be
opinion.
Okay. In your opinion, does the location that you're proposing have an adverse effect on the only property next door that abuts the property?
No.
Yeah.
Not,
And why does it not have an adverse effect on the property owner to the right, looking at the exhibit you have up on the screen now?
because this is actually, this face, this wall face is still actually within the BRLs. Like that still satisfies the setbacks.
Okay, okay, fine.
Is that clear enough?
Yeah, no, that's not
Okay.
for me. And all the drawings that you have presented here today and put in the application are all accurately scaled and are reasonable representations of what's there today and what will be there in the future?
My firm has put together all of these drawings, and they are based on the house location survey. So they're all accurate.
Are there any questions we can answer for you?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Thank you very much for the testimony. It's nice when everybody's prepared coming before the board. Does anybody on the board have any questions they'd like to entertain?
Thank you, Chair. The addition that you're building, from the elevations, I can't tell, what is the clearance from the ground to the top of the roof?
So it's a slab on grade construction. And so are you asking what's the elevation from grade to the top of the gable?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna do as low a pitched roof as we can in order to do the reverse gable back into the garage. So if we haven't gotten into a structural drawing yet, we're waiting for, hopefully an approval.
An approximate guess is fine.
12 at the most, maybe 11 even. 12 or 11 or 12 feet. So if we do 8, yeah, 12 is the max.
That would be a very sharply shaped roof. Yeah. The neighbors, I guess you're facing the house, the neighbors on the right, and the cul-de-sacs on the left, correct?
Correct.
Okay. The neighbors on the right, have they been polled about this addition, and what are their thoughts?
They have been polled and they have no opposition to it.
Okay. One last question. Not so much the shape of the lot, but the topography of the lot. I'm unfamiliar with the other lots in that area. You did indicate that on the left side of the lot that it seems to have a significant slope down. Is that type of topography normal in that area with the other lots, or are most of the other lots flat without significant slopage?
You know, I don't really know the specifics of all the other lots. I think we were just looking, so what I think I was trying to refer to is more about this drawing, where we were preliminarily trying to ascertain the buildable area, and knowing that this would have been a 5 to 6 foot crawl space to bring a single, if we're gonna build one floor for the addition, it needs to be on the first floor, so there's about a 6 foot elevation to get it over here. And I don't know if I answered that very clearly.
No, I understand. I don't think you have the information that I'm looking for, which is fine.
Okay, yeah, all I know is this slopes 6 feet, 6 to 8 feet from the right to the left. That's what I can tell you. So the logical slab on grade solution was in the back.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vaughn.
Okay.
Welcome, guys. First of all, the parents, are you guys residents of City Gaithersburg now?
Germantown.
Well, let me be the first to welcome you to City of Gaithersburg if we get all this approved. So, but anyway, a couple things. My big thing is opposition. I didn't see anything in the packet. There's nobody here. Only concern, and you obviously have counsel to help you through this, is when you build in a utility setback, if they have to get to it for any reason, whatever it may be, they can, basically go in and tell you you're going to tear some of your house down to get to what they need to get to. So that is a little bit of a concern, but not necessarily whether I approve it or not, just for you guys moving forward as a family. And then the other thing is how many square feet is the setback roughly? Was it like 100 square feet or 50 square feet?
How many square?
Or how many feet are you, like that little area that's enclosed?
Oh, 60.
60 square feet total.
59. It's
That- yeah.
55.9 square feet
Got
of
it,
the
okay.
addition. So it's this slide right here, if I'm answering the right question.
You are, and I just missed that, so sorry.
Okay, so it's the area of the variance is this corner, 55.9 square feet.
Okay.
That's the request.
And, no opposition, so I don't have any questions. I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay.
I
Thank
just
you.
had one question.
Sure.
It's in regards, I guess, is the side, so the setback isn't necessarily the constraining feature in this, it's more so just the design that the owners have agreed upon for the 600 square feet. Just because you're coming in for that small part of the variance. So is it just because that you just need it for that, or that, I guess that's what I'm trying to understand. Is it the setback variance that is the constraining portion of that design? Or that's just the design that the owners have come up with as far as the square footage of the unit?
Well, so I'm not sure I fully understand everything in the question, so I'll try to answer as best as I can. The irregular lot sends that diagonal line through a rectangle in the back of the property. So to have a rectangle in the back of the property and to establish kind of a standalone bedroom, desk area, living area, so that they can have some separation, I don't want to say it out loud, but possibly from each other. I've been married for 20 plus years, right? So just some separation, that there's a bedroom and a living room. I have designed many ADUs and ADA ADUs and all kinds of things, and I find that once you try to get under that 610, 620, you just can't get a bedroom. So I think that's the constraint, is that it's just that diagonal coming through, and the diagonal actually does already come through the existing house in the other left-hand corner further down. So it's just that diagonal coming through.
Okay, I think that's more probably the better question would have been, is literally just because of the diagonal,
It's
not
the
because
diagonal
of
rear
the
yard
overall
setback.
having to come in for the variance and all that.
You can't draw the rear setback line any other way, right? It's a diagonal in the back of the PL property line, so it's the only way you can draw it.
I have had presentations, I don't think it's to the Gaithersburg Board of Appeals, but other boards of appeals, where someone had said, Jody, just aren't you asking for a little bit too much? Couldn't you just make it smaller to make it fit? And in this case, I think he's demonstrated that it would shrink the unit so much, it would not only be not comfortable for them, you wouldn't be able to get all the functions in
Oh,
there.
yeah, I'm essentially asking the question in reverse.
Yeah.
So would you make it bigger if you need to come for a bigger variance?
We've
Or that was
settled
just
on
the
this
owner's
size for a lot of
size?
reasons.
Okay.
Not for the size, it fits, and the budget. So there's, it's a full, not to overuse the word, but it's a full spectrum of reasons why we're at this size, right? We
Okay.
wouldn't make it bigger. If you said you can go all the way, we would not make it bigger from here.
Okay, thank you.
That's not the
Yes.
goal.
John?
Well, I appreciate the comprehensive presentation, and I have no questions at this time.
Thank you, John.
I just have one small one. On the addition, where is the water runoff going to be funneled to?
That is a good question. So we will need a drainage plan. And I'm not versed enough in the code to know if I can put the dry well in the rear yard, but if I can, then that's how I would handle it. If not, I'll handle it with rain barrels, or, even run this way to a dry well, right? I can run towards the front of the house to a dry well right here. So I do know it's over 400 square feet of roof, right? Where I need to contain all the water from the roof. So I hadn't really thought through where that would be, but if I can do it in the rear yard, I'll do it in the rear yard. If not, I'll just figure out a way to get it back to the front.
Yeah, sometimes, like last year, we had no rain in the summer. This year, we've had an
It's-
abundance.
It's
And we have
biblical this year,
hurricane
isn't
season
it?
coming up, so,
And it's absolutely biblical this year.
yeah.
So, yeah, I will steadfastly maintain all of the roof water, whatever's within the parameters of the building code. That you can be assured of.
Is there any other testimony from anybody else in the audience? Okay, then I'm calling for a motion to close the record.
I make a motion to close the record.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries 5-0. All right, so
Thank you.
is there any other comments or anything?
Well, if I might, did I understand, Mr. Crusoe, this is your last session with the Board of Appeals? Or did I misunderstand that? Okay, I misunderstood. I thought someone was saying you were retiring. I think maybe you're just packing up to go on a trip.
No, I'm
You're not going anywhere, right? Okay.
He actually was our normal chair's not here, so I believe this is his maiden voyage.
He
this
said he
your
wasn't.
I had one other.
Oh, well, excuse me. I mean, so
Yeah,
he's doing very good.
I did hear him say he missed not having the vice chairman sign. Anyway, thank you.
Chair, I do have some thoughts I'd like to discuss with the board.
Right.
Right.
Going through the 6 requirements that we have to meet in order to potentially grant a variance. And as I look at these, it's a 2412.8C, and there's 6 of them. The first being that the property is peculiar in some manner, and it lists out a couple areas to consider: dimension, grade, environmental constraint, and such. I have difficulty deciding that it is truly individual in that manner, because when I look at the surrounding map and just kind of look at the different single family properties in that surrounding map, about 5% of them appear to have these very irregular shapes. So I'm interested in considering the topography of the site as well, because I feel like that would really help define it being different than those surrounding it. But I don't have enough information to actually make that consideration. So right now I'm left with just the shape of the property. And I'm concerned, once again, like 5% of the other properties in the area have a substantially similar shape. So I'm not sure I can get past on number 1. And I'm interested in others' thoughts.
Well, if you, can we bring up the broader picture with the neighboring houses?
And while you're doing that, Ms. Bellegarde, could I
Thank you,
make a
Charlie.
comment or observation, I guess I'd say?
I'm not sure. We closed the
Yeah,
record, so I'm not
yeah.
sure.
Okay.
Well, then we'll pull it up. If you look in the bigger picture where it shows the house on the end with the cul-de-sac, and I guess we'll call it the east. On the east, there's the rounded portion, but then you have that diagonal. When you look in regards to the neighboring houses, to me, that's the unique feature of that yard. One could argue the one next to it has slightly odd shapes, but it seems like it just has more backyard. But from I guess if we're calling that a peculiarity of the actual property, I would say that has more cutoff on the back with that diagonal coming off the space. So to me, that's what in essence would satisfy the first one, just because the pure shape of the yard just makes it more unique. from that perspective.
If I might offer, you do have the prior 1984 decision that was actually on the same lot that actually did find, and that was a similar, not exactly under the current code, because the current code was what was passed last year, but there was still the basic variance requirements come down from state law, and there was still the peculiarity requirement then, and it was found that the lot met that standard at that time.
Which is a good point. It's something I had thought about. And unfortunately, in the record of that decision, there's no real discussion about their thoughts. We just have the final decision. And when I look at the plat, it appears that if the 30-foot rear setback was in place, a house of similar size to the others would be unable to be constructed, which would substantially make that, a hardship on the owner of that plat. Versus now, I don't believe it's the same circumstance. That we could simply look at the previous decision and say it was declared irregular at the time, thus it still is. With the setback having been changed to 20 feet at this time, I'm not certain that is enough.
Well, my thoughts are, I think the lot is peculiarly shaped. There's that word again. That
Hard
comes
to
up
say.
a lot.
Very peculiar
It's very
conversation.
peculiar. But my thing is, the variance is going into a public utility right away. I think that plays into my decision on what I'm thinking. Also, again, neighbors. I think, your community is important that everybody can get along. Not everybody has to be friends, but everybody has to get along. And if there's no opposition to what this family's trying to do for their family, basically, my personal opinion is it meets everything for the variance.
Yeah, where I'm coming out is, I'm looking through this list of 6 criterias, and I find that this application really applies to each and every one of them. I don't have an issue with number 1 because I do believe that property is the most peculiar, and the word peculiar is in the code. On that street and in that neighborhood, and for the application to be able to go forward and for this addition to be constructed, I find that all 6 criteria meet this request.
I just have one more, Frank. This question would be for you. With the 1984 decision of granting the variance, the first variance, does that set, I guess, in essence, precedent that the property is peculiar? Because is that
No, I don't know that we would necessarily say that's a binding decision that all the standards are met, but certainly we would call that part of the record, something that certainly should be considered. There has been a setback change. Would that have a big impact on this addition? Obviously, if they were coming in, whether it was a 30 or a 20, where they stand now, they'd be asking for a variance.
right?
So,
Any other discussion?
Let's have one more thought to add.
Okay.
I'm really trying to consider the primary purpose of setbacks, why they exist. And, it appears to me that the reason a setback exists is to enforce kind of the feeling of density or lack of density. In this zone, we have certain setbacks so that things aren't too close to each other. So there's, an expected amount of space in the front and the back and things like that, right? And considering the surrounding property, in this case, the right-of-way in the back, which is really the only thing that is going to be affected by giving a variance on this specific setback. It's not going to affect the side view. If the part of the unit was built still 5 foot from the fence going back, the view from the house next to them is going to be the same, even if you cut it diagonally to adhere to the setback. So it's not going to change anything there. And clearly, it's not going to change any view from the back because that's a large right-of-way. So I don't really have a place to go with that, but I just want to kind of put that out there, in combination with my reservation about, how unique the property is, but, also thinking about really the purpose of the thing that we're talking about variance of.
Okay.
Just some thoughts.
Any other discussion? Do we have a motion to approve or deny the application and resolution?
I make a motion that the Board of Appeals, based on the findings and conclusions outlined in the draft resolution, approve variance BOA 10140-2025 and adopt resolution BOA 10140-2025 with the one condition presented. Wait, yes.
Yeah.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Vote carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to Gaithersburg.
The first one was a little premature.
I know that, but it's okay. I said based on if, as long as things went well here today, and I had just had a feeling they would.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate everyone.
No worries. The pressure's just on you.
Have
to
a
get
good
it
evening.
built. So
What'd you say?
I said now it's just on you to get it.
No,
built.
yeah. That's actually the easy part. So
Fair
I
enough.
appreciate your time.
Yep, take care.
Now, do we have any additions from the staff?
No, the next meeting is scheduled for September 10th, to be determined whether or not we have any applications. So it may be a month we don't hold a meeting, but I never like to cancel them too early because there's always a possibility somebody comes last minute. But that September 10th is the next meeting. Thank you all for being here. It's good to have a full board. That's all I have.
All right. Then we call this meeting adjourned.